Boom, we are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Nolan Hawkeye Anthony YouTube channel, and I thank all of you for being here, wherever you may be, and of course, however you may be listening. This is going to be the game preview. I know it's a little late. Been very busy these days. You guys have to understand, I have my full-time job. I'm also dang near a full-time official too. I wouldn't say it's quite full-time, but each week I probably officiate at least a total of 10 extra hours. So I'm a workaholic. I work like crazy. So sometimes it's difficult. And then I've also had something happen to my family that's required my attention and time. And of course, family does come first. The last thing that I want to apologize for, usually I record this one on my laptop. That way I can share my screen, show you guys what I'm looking at and the information that I am analyzing. I'm not going to be able to do that tonight because I left my laptop at work. So this is where we are, and I wanted to take advantage and get this recorded. So here we are, and without further ado, let's dive into this. If you guys aren't subscribed, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share. You guys know the drill. This is going to be the game preview for the Iowa versus Rutgers game. On the road, this is going to be the second road game for the Iowa Hawkeyes this season. This is a game where Iowa is coming off of their best offensive performance. They were a little shaky at times on special teams in coverage. I can't remember if it was kickoff or punt return, but they allowed some pretty good field position from UMass. But other than that, the defense was pretty stout. They got after the quarterback pretty well. Max Llewellyn played solid. Drew Stevens, it was kind of a mixed bag. He hit two difficult field goals, but he also missed a chip shot, which should have been a chip shot. Very makeable field goal and an extra point. For what it's worth, when it comes to special teams, and I still think Drew Stevens is one of the best kickers in the country. But what separates, in my opinion, the top kickers, the top like 1 to 3 kickers, and Drew Stevens may very well be in this category when this season is done. And the good kickers, dare I say even possibly elite kickers, is they are consistent across the board. And namely, they hit the ones that they're supposed to hit. They don't miss those. They seldom miss extra points, if ever. And, of course, they make the makeable field goals. Of course, there's many different factors where it's spotted on the field, weather, the snap, the hold, the blocking. I mean, there's more factors than not. But all things being equal, they make the ones that are makeable, and they make a majority of the ones that are higher difficulty, shall we put it. I do think Drew Stevens very well could be there, and thus far I would say he's still up there this year. There's still a lot of play to go, and a lot of time to go, but I think if he wants to be drafted or make an NFL roster next year, he's going to have to reel that in this year and be at the very least in the upper 80% for his field goal percentage, preferably 90%, and I would say definitely over 90% for extra point, preferably 95%. The good news is, though, he does have an NFL caliber leg. He's really developed over the course of his Iowa career. He wasn't always a big-legged kicker. In fact, I would say his freshman year, he was more of an accurate chip shot kicker than a long-range kicker. But I digress. So here we are, Iowa versus Rutgers. Iowa is coming off of their best offensive performance. Iowa took shots downfield. They pushed it down the field. Gronowski made some decent passes. I don't think that they were the toughest passes in the world, all of them, but he made them, and that's what counts. And I think, for me, that's really all I'm asking him to do is make the plays that are makeable. Guys that are wide open, that do the work to make that happen. You need to make those plays, and I think Mark Gronowski made that. I would have liked to have seen him over 200 yards. He probably would have been over 200 had he stayed in the game, but still. And even the passes that were still fairly wide open, that were pushed down the field, they look like good balls, good passes, and sorry, they look like good passes, not good balls. Sorry. But you know what I mean. It was a good pass. Some people call it good ball. That was funny. But so there you have it. I do think the best throw of the year, though, thus far I saw from Hank Brown on the goal line, doing a little play action pass and rolling out. There was a marginal amount of space. There was a ton of boundary line space on the right side. But as far as the defender and the wide receiver, the one-on-one coverage that was there, it was marginal. It wasn't like thin, but it wasn't a ton. He wasn't like wide open. And the type of throw that was needed on the run after doing a fake handoff, he fit it right there in stride. If this was anywhere else on the field and it wasn't, a touchdown, that receiver would have turned up field. It would have been hit right in stride, and he would have been, gone for at least 20 yards. So there's that. What else do we have? So Iowa versus Rutgers here. Oh, sorry, I got some Spanish playing in the background. Iowa is favored to win this game according to Vegas. They're 2.5-point favorites, with the over/under being 45.5. However, ESPN Football Power Index, or ESPN Analytics, actually gives Rutgers a pretty sizable advantage to win this game at 57% compared to Iowa's 43%. I think looking at this over the years, the home team gets a lot of the advantage in the matchup predictor, and I think rightfully so. Although Rutgers, I think, lately has been hit or miss as far as their fanfare. I don't think going to play at Rutgers as far as the fan experience is quite the same as coming into Kinnick or, playing Ohio State or Michigan or, anything like that. So, but we'll see how they do. It's a 5:00 p.m. game. So who knows? Maybe Rutgers will surprise me on that front, especially considering they're 3-0. So I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if they're able to bring out the fanfare. And it is an East Coast traveled game, and that's always tough. But I think Iowa has done a decent job of playing Rutgers and Maryland over the years since they've joined the Big Ten, and so hopefully they're able to continue this. Ethan Kaliakmanis is one of the better quarterbacks right now in the country. He's 13th in passer rating. He has a 73% completion percentage, 73, 7 touchdowns to 0 interceptions with a 181.2 passer rating. And he has 820 passing yards. So that's really solid. I bet Minnesota is kicking themselves that they don't have him. And quite frankly, Iowa was hard after him coming out of high school as well, and he considered Iowa pretty heavily. Mark Gronowski, on the other hand, so he is, what did I say, 18th? 13th in the country in passer rating. On the other hand, in passer rating, Mark Gronowski is towards the bottom. I don't know exactly what he's ranked because this is actually kind of all over the board here. It doesn't have... So actually, Ethan Kaliakmanis may not be 13. Let me go ahead and count it for you guys real quick. Excuse me, he's actually 18th, which is still really good. Gronowski is towards the bottom. I don't know exactly what his number is, but his passer rating is 117. But, you know, this last game, it's 112.1 actually. He's got 3 touchdowns to 1 INT, 306 passing yards for a 59% rounding up completion percentage. Looking at his last 3 games here, trying to see which game was his best. I actually said it wrong. That was his passer rating. His total, so his best game was this past game. He had a 156.8. His QBR, which I think is a more snap-by-snap comparison rather than your passer rating, as well as taking into consideration your run totals and your ability to just create winning plays, is a 70.3. I would be curious to see where he ranks with that. Ethan is 34th in the country with total QBR. Mark Gronowski is 114th with a 34.7. So I think it might be slightly better, but not a ton better, which I am a little bit surprised because of his run ability. Xavier Williams, 186 rush yards. We'll see if he's able to go. I wouldn't expect him to. A. Raymond for Rutgers has 248 rush yards, which, you know, it seems like Rutgers' offense has some pretty strong statistical leaders here. K. Duff has 244 receiving yards compared to Sam Phillips, 90. Max Llewellyn with 3 sacks compared to 1 for Jay Thompson. And Jaden Harrell with 19 tackles compared to Kay Sanders, 16. The last 3 games for each team, Iowa played Albany 34-7. They lost Iowa State 16-13. Iowa State's now 3-0 after a abysmal performance against Arkansas State and a 47-7 victory against UMass. Rutgers, on the other hand, they defeated Ohio 34-31. They defeated Miami of Ohio 45-17, and they defeated Norfolk State 60-10. All these games have been at home. All right, guys. My final analysis here. It'll be interesting to see how Iowa does playing on the East Coast, changing time zones a little bit. You know, I like to think in this day and age it won't play too much of a factor given where we're at scientifically and things like that, but it always plays more of a factor than we realize. But hopefully Iowa's able to weather that. Hopefully the weather's good. You know, we'll see what Rutgers is able to do as far as fans go. I do think Iowa is the more talented team coming into this game. There's a reason they're favored by 2.5 points. I think Iowa right now is a really tough team to gauge. Their defense has been stellar. I fully expect them to be stellar, although Rutgers' offense, it's something to consider with Ethan Kaliakmanis and his, you know, passing acumen. He seems to be one of the better passing quarterbacks, but he has not played a quarterback a defense like Iowa. And I think for Rutgers, this might be, based on the 3 cupcake games that they've played, this might be a rude awakening. And so from Iowa's perspective, I think they need to come out early, jump out on top, put their foot on the throat, and really not look back. I think that's their best opportunity to, you know, come into this game and come out of it relatively unscathed with the productive, relatively easy victory. But still, you know, his stats are what they are. And I'm trying to see what his rushing stats are. Looks like he's got 18 yards on the ground right now, which is not superb, but still, you know, he's a decent quarterback based on the stats, and it's something to monitor for the 6'3", 217-pound quarterback. As I said, I think Iowa's the better team. Their best pathway to victory is to come out, punch Rutgers in the mouth, take advantage of the relatively easy schedule that Rutgers has had. It's going to be a huge step up in competition level and talent level from what Rutgers has played. Again, it's a tough evaluation though, because we know the defense is good. We know the special teams is good. Dare I say elite for both. Despite special teams for last week as far as the kicking goes. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good as it can be. Caden Wetchton is really elevating. If he can get involved, it can really help Iowa out in this game and for the foreseeable future. But the offense, again, it's, Iowa's got the rush game. They've rushed for over 100 plus yards, probably more than that in each of their 3 games. I fully expect that to be there, but it's the pass game. Where is that going to be? And I really hope that we can see Iowa able to do at least some of what we saw last week, and even take a step forward in a lot of regards with an extra practice and reps under their belt and ability to build that cohesion. So that's what I'm looking for. Again, it's the same stuff week after week. The pass game, where's that going to be? What's the development going to be? Where's Mark Gronowski going to be? So I'm going to pick Iowa to win this game 25 to 15. I think it's, Iowa is able to do some things, but I don't think they're able to, do as much as maybe they should. But I think they're able to come out of this game with a towards the end, relatively unscathed victory here. So that's going to be my prediction, but don't sleep on Rutgers. This is going to be a decent game. So, all right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share. You guys know the drill. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow. Facts are feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. Love you, Hawk fans. See you guys next time. Go Hawks. Bye-bye.